We play and call it work.
Hey folks, Janine from Mini Wargaming here with another how-to video for you. In this video, we are going to paint the power axe on this Sanguinary Ancient. We're going to do a green blade with a little bit of lightning to make it more interesting. As always, if you have suggestions for something you'd like to see in a future how-to video, please leave them down below in the comments. So we're going to begin by doing some base work on the axe. We're going to start with the color Caliban Green. We're going to mix it with a little bit of Lahmian Medium. And this is just a really dark green that we're going to put as a base coat on the entire axe. We want to make sure that we do a nice thin paint, so it's going to take us a couple coats to get a really nice opaque color over this black. This is just going to give us a base to work with, and it's going to be the low point of our shadows. Our next color is going to be Cabalite Green. And we're going to start slowly layering this color on top of my dark green. We're going to highlight this in two different directions. So on the very edge of the axe, you can see I'm pushing my brighter color up towards the very top. And then as I move to the flat of the axe, I'm going to be going the opposite direction. I'm going to be pushing my brightest color towards the bottom. That way, the very brightest areas on each of those different sections is going to be right next to the very darkest area on the opposite section. And we are going to do all of our base coats and base greens before we add the lightning a little bit later. So I'm working with a really thin paint. The way that we're going to make these colors transition smoothly is by doing a very slow, very controlled layering process. We're not going to be doing any wet blending or anything like that, though it is always useful to have a little bit of your previous color paint if you need it, just in case you take the layering a little bit too far. Then you can go back and tone it down. Our next highlight is going to be with the color Warpstone Glow. And we're doing the same process with this color. We've just got a very thin paint. We're pushing it towards the top on one area, the bottom on the other area, probably covering about 70% of my Cabalite Green, but each layer I'm progressively painting less of the model. So even though one area covers about 70%, by the time I'm really getting a nice saturated green, I want to be painting a lot less of the axe. And you can see I'm just layering this up slowly. I want to make sure that I wait for my paint to dry between each layer. I didn't count exactly how many layers I was using, but it's quite a few. My next color is Moot Green. I want to continue pushing this up towards the opposite edges. And you can see with this color, I'm actually not painting a whole lot of area. I'm painting maybe about 30% of the axe blade at the most. And really I'm concentrating on just the last fifth right in the areas where I want it to be the brightest. And after I have layered and blended the two large flat sections on the axe, I'm going to go back with this color and I'm just going to slowly apply a line highlight, really exaggerating all of the sharp edges on the axe. I want to highlight that line where the flat of the axe transitions into the blade, and I want to make sure that I outline all of the edges all the way around. At this point, we're going to start blocking out our lightning bolts. We want them to seem like they're emanating from these cords on the flat of the axe. So we're going to do a little bit of paint right around that cord area. And it's all right if we slop onto the actual cord itself, that's fine, because we're going to paint it silver later. But we want to do a little bit of the screen around there, and then we are going to start dragging this out in kind of broken, jagged lines. We want the lines to kind of be heading the same direction. We do need them to branch out a little bit, and we don't want to add too many of these lightning bolts. We don't want the blade to be overwhelmed with them. Just doing a few is going to make the effect that we want without overloading all of the work that we've already done. At this point, I'm going to take the color Flash Gets Yellow, and I'm going to mix it into my Moot Green 50/50. And with this color, we're just going to brighten our line highlight in a few areas. We want it to be really bright, just right at the very edges of the axe, the top and the bottom. We want to add a little bit more brightness there. And then we're also going to highlight the very middle of all of these lightning bolts. We want to make sure that we don't necessarily highlight all of them evenly, because we do want there to be areas of brightness and darkness. Our next color is Flash Gets Yellow. And again, with this color, we're going to be more selective, and we're going to concentrate on making the areas that are right next to those cords where the lightning's kind of emanating from brighter than the lightning bolts that are painted on the edges. Next, we're going to take a little bit of Ceramite White, and I'm putting a little bit of this down just on the bolts right next to the cords to make them seem the brightest. And then I'm actually going to go back with a little bit of my Moot Yellow and mix it into my paint, because I found that after I put the Ceramite White down, it was just a little brighter than I wanted. So I'm going to tone it down, darken it a little bit, and make it seem a little bit more subtle. All right, and with that final highlight, the blade on this power axe is complete. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see more how-to videos, I have another one where I'm going to paint a slate bluish gray cloth on the banner of the Sanguinary Ancient in the Mini Wargaming Vault, in the link down below in the description. If you don't already have a Vault membership, you can go ahead and click the link, sign up for a 7-day free trial, and get access to my video, as well as hundreds of other videos in the Mini Wargaming Vault. So go ahead, click the link, start your free trial, and happy wargaming!